Hello, my name is Sal Morales. I am the founder of the SMJ Martial Arts Federation here in the United States. And I wanted to take this time to share something with you and really get this off my chest. My plan is to provide training videos and actually do seminars, clinics, things like that, and those are in the works. But with that being said, there's something I need to really share with you that I feel like it's incumbent upon me to do so. And that is that with all the things going on in the world, in the realm of carrying a firearm or a tactical folder for that matter, I wanted to share with you something that I really think is really important that people may be getting away from. Now in this country, more and more people are carrying firearms more than ever because of all the things that are going on. And that means there's more people carrying guns. And that also brings to it problems that go along with it. And there's people out there first time they've ever owned a firearm, things like this. And even law enforcement officers, military, whatever, protection specialists, doesn't really matter. As long as you carry a gun, I think this is going to really apply. Now, I've been a law enforcement officer for over 40 years, and I've actually seen a lot of things happen. And in that, especially, let's talk about firearms for just a second. Firearms is, when people decide to carry a gun, or if you're a law enforcement officer and you carry a gun, we really need to think about that and the safety aspect that goes along with it. There was I called it the golden rule. It's something I learned. I didn't come up with this, but I heard it a long time ago. And as an instructor for law enforcement and civilians that I've done all over the state of Texas, I've kind of kept this rule in my mind and in my heart, really. And I wanted to share that with you because I think it's really important, and I'll explain. The rule is that I call this the golden rule of carrying a gun. The golden rule is that carrying a gun is a lifestyle. It's not something that you kind of do sometimes and yes and no and this kind of stuff. This lazy, lackadaisical attitude can bring on a unique sense, a myriad of problems. It's a lifestyle. You have to think about so many things, from the clothes you wear to how you're going to conceal the weapon, how you're going to access the weapon safely, and these kinds of things. You have to think about the places you're going to go, the people you're going to hang around with, all these things, and how you're going to handle a situation that may come up that might be a conflict. Are you going to back up? What are you going to do? And you really, in my opinion, need to be more defensive and evasive and aware than before you were carrying a gun, because now you have the ability to inflict deadly force. And so that's really important. So this, I'd like to describe it as a lifestyle. That's what it is, plain and simple. And with this lifestyle, there's 4 rules. And these rules are so important, and I've seen where if one or more of these rules are violated or broken, then tragedy results. I was assisting, I had been assisted on a case here in El Paso where there was a shooting that has a lot to do with what I'm going to talk about. Anyway, so it happens to law enforcement, it happens in the military, it happens in civilian life. And it doesn't matter how experienced you are, things happen. And the minute we get lax about something, especially as something as dangerous as a firearm, then it can't be good. So anyway, let me start off with the first rule. The first rule is that a firearm, pistol in this case, a firearm is always loaded. Even if I clear it and show it to you and you take it, you clear it, but you still treat it like it was loaded. Never point it in the direction at anything you're not willing to destroy. even if you know it's not loaded. And let me tell you why. Is because you may forget. Many times when people are cleaning their weapon, they clear their weapon and they're cleaning it, and then they forget and they think it's safe, and they forget and put a clip in or put a round in the chamber and wind up pulling the trigger. So many times what happens is that people forget. But if you always remember that the gun is always loaded, always, it's never not loaded, then you'll treat it with the way it's intended, so that it'll minimize a lot of the risks. So again, I can't emphasize that enough. I don't care if you know it's not loaded, treat it like it was. Rule number 1. Rule number 2, of course, don't point at anything you're not willing to damage, kill, or destroy. Okay, that's rule number 2. Rule number 3, this is a biggie. Keep your finger off the trigger. You index your finger along the pistol. Now what I will do is I will do some future videos demonstrating some of this, as well as how to handle some other weapons and things like that. But for right now, I just wanted to get this out there. You keep the finger off the trigger. The trigger, if you keep the finger off the trigger, it's not going to go off. Unless the gun's defective or something else happens out of the ordinary. But generally, keep the finger off the trigger and you probably won't have any problems. And last but not least is clearly identify your target and make sure that you know what's behind it, because you could literally wind up shooting something and then hurting somebody, an unintended target, or causing damage behind whatever target you decide to shoot. And that's really, really important. With what I'm telling you, there are certain responses of the body that relate to having your finger on the trigger. And what I mean by that is a lot of research that's been done on single shot, unintentional discharges of a firearm. There's 3 things that stand out, seem to come up all the time. One is a startle response. That's when somebody is actually holding a weapon, they have the finger on the trigger, and they're shocked and they're scared, they're startled, and they pull the trigger. The other one is a loss of balance. When you trip and slip and lose your balance, and your finger's on the trigger, you pull the trigger, and you wind up, the gun goes off. And the other one is the sympathetic grip, where you've got your finger on the trigger, you grab something, and when you squeeze on that, you tend to want to squeeze the other hand, and it causes you to pull the trigger. Again, it goes back to keep your finger off the trigger. Okay, so I thought this was really, really important. And we use weapons to either make contact or break contact. That goes for a tactical folder as well. When we work a tactical folder, we use it in case we have to engage to deal with the attack, or we use it to break contact. Same thing with a firearm. We might have to engage the target because the situation calls for it, or we may have to use it and to break contact so that we can get away. Same thing with the knife. We can use it as a defense to break contact so that we can clearly get away from danger. So I'll talk about in a future video about what positions the firearm should be in and how to manage the trigger and things like that. I will do that in a future video, and I'll have the weapon on me so that way I can demonstrate it so you can actually see what I'm talking about. I hope this information helps you to think about what I'm talking about. Of course, if you have any questions, feel free to comment, comment, whatever. Give me your feedback on it, or contact me if you have any further questions that you'd like for me to answer. But keeping that in mind, this all comes from the heart, and I wanted to share this with you because I want you all to be safe. I want you to be able to take care of you and your family. Okay, so this is something that I just wanted to share from me to you on this channel, on this page, on this Facebook page. So I wish you great success. I wish you all, and I want you to be safe. So be careful out there. Times are getting tough, and our times are changing in the world. So be careful, and please think about what I said, okay? And with that, I say thank you.